The COVID-19 comorbidities of dialysis patients and the impact on each is shown on this slide. Patients on dialysis have the most frequent and the most intimate contact with the hospital. Additionally, these patients can't abide by the standard instructions to avoid infection, are unable to shelter in a place. Older adults and people are at heightened risk. Patients on dialysis are older and have underlying medical comorbidities. Patients with heart or lung disease or diabetes seem to be at higher risk for developing more serious complications. The management of patients with kidney disease is even more challenging because of use of immunosuppression and comorbidities. Cardiovascular disease, highly common complication and first cause of death in patients, present in over 50% of patients. Diabetes is a leading cause of kidney disease, present in over 40% of our patients. And hypertension is the second most common cause of kidney disease, present in over 25% of our patients. Now, problems in in-center hemodialysis in COVID, you can see that this is a in-center hemodialysis. They are the vulnerable group, together in a closed room for 4 to 5 hours, staff intensive area, skilled staff pushed to attend many patients in a session, need to travel from community 2 to 3 times a week from home. They have multiple comorbidities, they are immunocompromised, they have overlapping symptoms. COVID testing is not practical every day in these patients. Limited option of postponing session because of the fear of hyperkalemia and pulmonary edema, danger of unit and health staff being affected, and shutdown, how to retain staff. I was speaking to Dr. Gopalakrishnan, who is the head of nephrology at the Madras Medical College. They have dialyzed 1,100 patients with COVID in the institution. They have a separate unit for COVID. In our hospital also, we have a separate unit for COVID. But Gopalakrishnan and his team's work at Madras Medical College is laudable. The same thing with Stanley and Kilpatrick Medical College, who are government-run institutions. Advantages of home peritoneal dialysis are there is no hemodialysis, thoughtfully arranged transport during lockdown, insisted hospital not to deny or refer out hemodialysis patients. There are patients from red zones, testing issues, threat of closing down and quarantining of hemodialysis unit, which happened in a number of places, even in Tamil Nadu and also in other parts of the country, because staff were infected and patients were not willing to come and they wanted to be at home for the fear of getting COVID. Now, this is during the first wave, Mumbai dialysis patients positive for COVID-19 and made to run around for 24 hours. This still happens in many places in the country. Now, facilitating home dialysis, this is one of our patients. Nurse Sandra was training this patient. COPD is a plausible alternative. Now in the PMJAY, it is included. Reality is that we will have to live with COVID or such future viruses for a long time. As an afterthought, we and government would have been better implemented PD and chosen over hemodialysis. Now, COVID in-center trauma, patients are confined to and connected with vexatious equipment, long duration of ventilation, repeated extubation and reintubation, prolonged intubation, powerful sedative medications, paralyzing drugs to keep their reflexes from fighting ventilator. Some must be physically restrained as they may harm themselves or others in a delirious condition. The psychosomatic sequelae are post-traumatic stress disorder. One of my friends who was a very rich man who had COVID in Delhi and who also had a mental disorder, bipolar disorder. 6 months after the COVID, he jumped from the top of the house and committed suicide, took his life off. And this is post-traumatic stress disorder. Profound debilitation, weakness, memory loss, anxiety, depression, and hallucination, difficulty in sleeping, walking, and talking, prospect of prolonged separation, unable to receive friends or loved ones, spouses or children may act as caregivers, emotional and physical challenges, feeling frustration by their dependence on others, suicidal tendencies, as I have already alluded to, family caregivers may show signs of depressive symptoms. Rehabilitation, this cartoon shows the rehabilitation pattern, support of psychologists, therapists, nutritionists, pharmacologists, and other workers, pulmonologists, rehab specialists, psychiatrists, and dietitians, physical therapy, occupational therapy, social interaction, and to care about financial planners, pulmonary rehabilitation at reducing oxygen support, and then building a strategy for endurance, breathing technique, including how to cough better, help them to recover their motor skills, and nutritionist support for diet. This is very important because a lot of the COVID patients, by the time they come out of the ICU, they are malnourished and they have a loss of taste and loss of appetite, and the nutritionists play a pivotal role in taking care of them. Now, 5 stages for healthcare institutions in the battle against COVID are resolve, unprecedented effort, most far-reaching humanitarian crisis. Resilience, economic impact of virus suppression efforts could be the biggest nearly a century. Return. Return to occupational health is extremely challenging. Possibility that virus could re-emerge, as we have seen in the second wave. Reimagine. Restructuring of the service delivery to match preference and expectation. Enhance use of technology for flexible and productive delivery. Reform. Fundamental reshuffling of relationship between stakeholders, helping shape a better society to preemptive future of healthcare crisis. Healthcare has found itself tested by the patients, and the frontliners are delivering heroically, but the healthcare will look nothing like that what was normal before. And we are here for you. Stay home, stay safe, and to prevent COVID infections. Now, this is I have taken it from the news, Times of India. Until we reach herd immunity, access to widespread testing is the bedrock of pandemic containment. And this is by Rajiv Shah. How does the world see India's current surge in COVID cases? Then India's testing rate has fluctuated and laboratories were overwhelmed during the peak of the current surge, that is the current one. How can testing be increased? Then how significant is the threat of the B1612 variant of the virus? And then what lessons can India learn from its current surge and others, and that manage their second waves better? Now, sorry about this busy slide. The below given is the approximate percentage of beds available in India. Total number of hospital beds are 1.37 million. Private sector is about 833,000, and in the public sector, they are about 540,000. And among them, the functional beds are 70%, non-functional beds are 30, and among the public sector, functional beds are 50, non-functional are 50. And then as we go down, most of these public sectors, top 10 are in cities 60%, and other cities are 40%. And in the private sector, top 20 are in cities 70%, and others are in 30%. When you look at the above is given the ratio of doctor to COVID patients in India, which was published. Look at the blue are the number of doctors, and the red are the patients. So Delhi, Uttar Pradesh, Andhra Pradesh, Karnataka, Tamil Nadu, and Maharashtra. So you can see that there is a definite deficiency of doctors in all these states, despite being some of the top states in the country. So we have also heard about the oxygen chain. So it has to be manufactured. There is an increasing demand for oxygen, and more oxygen units are opening up, stored in jumbo tankers, transported in cryogenic tankers. Distributor converts liquid oxygen into compressed gas. Local suppliers, hospitals, local vendors, home patients, and oxygen from where to the patients. Now, sorry about this. This is a Malayalam publication, and this shows the February 16, March 15, April 5, and May 23rd. So this shows the vaccination So the people who have received up to May 23rd, 2 doses of vaccine are 4.17 crores and total vaccination is 19.2 crores. So when we look at that, see the patient, this cartoon shows the importance of masking, but there is no social distancing. Most big states are cooling down now. You can see that blue is Maharashtra. Then this is from February 11th to May 20 this year. And Maharashtra, you can see that the numbers were very high. Now it is cooling off. Tamil Nadu also, the numbers increased. Now it is cooling off. And Uttar Pradesh and Karnataka and Delhi are shown here. And this is Kerala. Kerala is one of the states, small states with a large number of COVID. The reason is that because the density of population is very high in Kerala, every kilometer you have over 800 people living. So this is one of my colleagues, Dr. Millie. This is a new hospital. She is 18 years on peritoneal dialysis, Shanti Mohan, and she has come for the COVID vaccine. The first dose, I can see that the vaccination was done. She received Covishield. She's waiting for her second dose. This is the MGM hospital where we started from last 10 days, 18 and above getting vaccination. So you can see a large queue of the 18 years old who are waiting for their vaccine. So vaccination, top 2 billion mark, more than 2 billion COVID vaccines have been given in 215 countries and territories across the world. The milestone comes 6 months after vaccination began. So this shows the private sector in vaccination percentage leading the pack. This is Delhi, followed Gautam, Buddhanagar, Indore, Hyderabad. So you can see that in the private sector, the vaccination is anywhere from 27.6 to 40.7 and 44.3. So private sector plays a major role in vaccination, although the government sector plays as good as possible with their limitations. So we all have seen this during the first wave. Geeta, 15-year-old, cycling her father Mohan 1,200 kilometers to Bihar during the first wave of COVID, and she became very famous, and she is well known in North India as well as in the South, and their dedication to her father to take him back to safety, back to Bihar, 15-year-old cycling her father. So this cartoon, I liked it very well. It came in Times of India, and President Xi takes respectable image for China along the world, cynical. Look at the cartoon, which shows the laboratories in Wuhan. They are making COVID, they are supplying COVID to the rest of the world, rather than, so they want a respectable image so that, you know, they can say that we are not propagating COVID, but what is happening is the reverse. So I would like to conclude my talk by saying that we all work together, the excellent healthcare workers. We lost nearly over 1,100 of our doctors, including our nephrologists, and we need to pay tribute to them and to the nutritionists and all healthcare workers. And I am extremely thankful for giving me this opportunity to take you this talk. Thank you so much.